Hello students, today we are going to learn about another one of the very important topic in writing skill. As we know, in 21st century, we use different tools for conveying the message from one person to another person. And in 20th century, people used letters to convey their message. But now in 21st century, we have so many options. Among them, one option is email, that is called electronic mail. So today we are going to learn about the use of email and how to create an ideal email, or what should be the proper content for the email. So let's start the discussion about this electronic mail. Before we start the discussion about email, let me tell you something about very important thing, and that is communication. Because we used email for communication. Communication is very basic purpose behind all such types of activities. So definitely different types of communications are there. Okay, most of the time we just try to convey our message from one person to another person, but with the use of different tools in different ways. So generally 4 types of communications are there. Sorry. Verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and formal and informal communication. So generally when people try to communicate each other, they should realize some manners and etiquettes about sending emails and about the content of email. So let's have some discussion about some do's and don'ts, especially related to email etiquettes. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand some do's about email. When you try to create a particular email, it should be, or it have a clear subject line. This is very essential thing. After that, use a professional salutation. We cannot use same salutation for all the emails, in all the emails. As per the receiver, we should change our salutation. Then before we send the email to someone, we should recheck it again and again, because most of the time some spelling mistakes are there, or most of the time it misinterpret the meaning. Then we should keep private material confidential. When we send email to someone, we should keep our private documents, private things in a confidential way. Then keep your email short and flawless. Stay concise. According to me, this rule is very important, because we cannot write in detail in the email. We should realize the use of email and why we are sending email to another person. So keep your email short and flawless. That is very important. And most of the time we should stay it concise. Check your attachments before sending. Yes, with the use of email, most of the time we attached some documents, some PDFs, or some different types of files to that email. So before we send it, it is our responsibility to check attachments before sending the email, and include your name or a signature with additional details. Okay, this is very important, because most of the time your details are not enough to realize, to understand that next person about yourself. Okay, some don'ts, like some do's, we have some don'ts thing about the email. So let's have a quick discussion about that. Don't forget your signature. Yes, this is very important. Then don't use humor and sarcasm. Our language in the email is different than usually we speak. Okay, so we should not use humoristic tone. We should not use sarcasm in that language. Don't assume the recipient knows what you are talking about. Definitely, we need to tell them, we need to tell to that recipient about the email. We cannot assume, we cannot predict that the person, the recipient knows everything about us and about subject. And the most important thing, don't punctuate poorly. At the same time, don't hit reply all. Most of the time we make same reply to all the recipients, so that is not the proper way of sending mail. And at the end, don't forward email without permission. This is very important rule. This is what we call the mannerism in the professional life. Don't forward email without permission. You should take permission, and then only you can send that email, that content, to the next person. Okay, now let's have some discussion about the history of email. What actually means, or what is an email? Okay, so we all know electronic mail, also known as email, is one of the most commonly used services on the internet, like other social media handles, allowing people to send messages to one or more recipients. Email was invented by Ray Tomlinson in 1972. Remember this name and year. Both the things are very important. The point is, this service, email, used by people because it is allowing people to send messages to one or more recipient, and that is the unique quality of this email. And why people choose this platform to send the message, to convey the message. So some reasons are there. Let's have a quick glance on that reasons. The operating principle behind email is relatively simple, which has quickly made it the most popular service used on the internet. Okay, so according to them, the operating principle behind email is relatively very simple, relatively, as compared to other platforms. Okay, it look like very simple for sender as well as receiver, which has quickly made it the most popular service in the, or used on the internet. And therefore, because of having user-friendly technology, user-friendly service, it is most popular service used on internet. As with the traditional postal services, because as I already told you, especially in 20th century, we used to send letters to our relatives, friends, and officials. Okay, but nowadays we use this service to convey the message. As with the traditional postal service, for your message to reach your recipient, all you need to know is their address, and that is the most important thing. Without knowing the proper address of that person, we cannot, or we could not send letter to that person. But nowadays, its two main advantages over paper mail are the speed at which the email is sent, okay, and the lower cost included with the cost of internet connection. Okay, so two most important advantages are there as compared to the traditional way of sending message, that is letter. Okay, the postal service. Number one, the speed of that email or that message. In a very quick way, we can send one message to another person. Okay, and the another thing is related to cost. So the lower cost as compared to letters. But yes, definitely it is not simply free. It included with the cost of internet connection. Okay, we need the connectivity, internet connectivity, to send the email to the next person. Okay, what's more, email can be used to instantly send a message to several people at once. This is the quality of this service. We can send same message at the same time to several people, and this is what we call the very unique quality of this email service. Okay, now let me tell you something about the email basics. Okay, make sure that your emails stand out because of the content and not because of sloppy mistakes, poor formatting, or casual language. These three things are what we call the most important thing which we need to realize. Number one, sloppy mistakes. Number two, poor formatting and casual language. We should not deal with such types of thing in that email writing. Okay, use a readable font in a 10 or 12 point size in your email. Most of the time what happened, uh, people used very small or sometimes very big font size for writing their email. So that is not the proper way of writing the email. We need to choose 10 or 12 font size for that email writing. Send job search related emails from a professional email address. Professional email address means with the use of, just take the example of Gmail. Okay, so in that electronic mail system we have different platforms. Okay, for example, Gmail services, Yahoo, and etc. Okay, so ideally your email address should be or should just include some combination of your first and last name or final initial and last name. Means definitely your email address should like that. Means it is the combination of your first name or last name, sometime the initial of first name and last name. Okay, here is what to include when sending job search correspondence and the email message format you should use when you are sending employment related email messages. Okay, when you are sending employment related messages, you should be more careful. Okay, you should be more careful about all the technicalities and technical things. Now let's have some discussion about email message template. Means what is the format of writing the email or sending the email to the next person. Okay, so which type of information we should or we need to include in that email message we send while searching for a job, especially when we are in the search of job. That time we should be more careful about the language, about the punctuation marks, and about all the technicalities in the email writing. Okay, use the template as a guideline to create customized email messages to send to employers and connections. This is what we call a guideline for us for how to write a proper email. Okay, so the first and most important thing, that is subject line. Don't forget to include a clear subject line in your email, because nowadays If you are not writing anything in that subject line, still you can send the mail. But the proper and the most important way to sending email to someone is we should fill that subject line with a proper word, with a proper title or the subject. Okay, use the subject line to summarize why you are emailing, why you are sending email to someone. Okay, so when someone is reading your subject line, definitely he or she should understand your subject, should understand your concern behind sending the message or sending the email. Some examples of strong subject lines are there. For example, we have 4 examples here. Number 1, application for marketing associate. Okay, means your subject line is application for marketing associate, means you are sending an application with the use of email. So your subject line shows your intention behind sending the email. Informational interview request. Sometimes you send email to that another person for what? For making request about interview. So you can write subject like that, informational interview request. Then thank you, marketing associate interview. When you got interview letter and you want to reply it, so you can use this as a subject line. Thank you, marketing associate interview. Then referred by the person's name, or for informational interview discussion, or whatever it is. Okay, so the point is your subject should be clear. Okay, your subject line should be clear, and definitely before that we need to select the exact email ID, means exact person from whom you want to select the email. Okay, then the first paragraph or behind that, one very important thing is there, and that is salutation. Don't forget to use and appropriate salutation. Okay, we cannot use same salutation for everyone. So sometimes we use dear Mr. and Mrs., his last name, or a dear hiring manager. Different ways of salutations are there, but we need to use appropriate salutation for that particular person. Okay, then we have to write the first paragraph, and this is very important. Okay, so in the first paragraph of your email should include information on why you are writing, why you are sending this mail. So reason should be there. Okay, about writing that email. Be clear and direct. For what? For your intention behind writing an email. Okay, if you are applying for a job, mention the job title. You should mention that exact job title there. Okay, if you want an informational interview, state that your opening sentence, means your opening sentence should clear your intention behind sending or behind writing that email. Okay, so such types of things should be there in the first paragraph. Now, what about middle paragraph? Definitely in all the writing skills or different types of topics are there. For example, expansion of idea, blog writing. The middle paragraph is very important because this is nothing but the core paragraph. Okay, core element is there, therefore this paragraph is important. The next section of your email message should describe what you have to offer the employer, or if you are writing to ask for help, what type of assistance you are seeking. Means the reason behind sending the email and all the minute details of behind that reason. Okay, so you should add all the things in this middle paragraph. Keep it concise and flawless with relevant punctuation. You know, punctuation marks and the use of punctuation marks are very important in email writing. We cannot use any punctuation mark in any place. We should use proper semicolon, colon, commas, full stops, sometimes question marks, exclamatory marks, and quotation marks. Okay, and definitely this is not for this middle paragraph, but in all the emails, your language or your way of writing should be concise and flawless. Okay, this is very important. Now, the final paragraph, let me tell you something. The final, what we call the concluding paragraph. Okay, conclude your email by thanking the employer for considering you for the position or your connection for helping with your job search. Means your last paragraph, your final paragraph, your concluding paragraph should showing your gratitude, showing your thankfulness towards the employer or towards that another person. Okay, then we have email signature. Okay, very important thing. Your first name, sometime last name. Okay, sometime we start it from last name, but usually your first name should be there and then the last name. Okay, then your email address, your phone, means your details. Okay, all your details, and then we end that particular email. So the thing is very clear. Intention behind writing the email should be clear. Okay, we should use very clear and what we call flawless, concise language for that email. Okay, the use of punctuation marks is very important. Then the most important thing related to the email address of that next person. Okay, means how to use carbon copy and blind carbon copy, means CC and BCC. These two things are very important. So we should realize the importance of these things. Okay, the carbon copy called CC and the blind carbon copy BCC. Tools are very tricky. Most of the time we are not able to understand the difference between these two things. Okay, sometimes they are useful, but if used improperly they can be problematic. Okay, means if you are not able to understand the use of carbon copy and blind carbon copy, if you are not, or sometimes if you are not able to understand the difference between these things, then it is problematic for you. Okay, now we have one particular sample email format. Okay, here on your screen. So read carefully the minute details in that format, but first of all just try to observe, okay, how we can prepare a particular email. Okay, so this is the proper format. Okay, we have that tabs: compose, inbox, drafts, sent messages, trash, and other more labels. Okay, then we have that particular setting window. Then the most important thing, and that is to, means whom you actually want to send that email. Okay, that is very important. So you should put, or you should write the exact email address there. Okay, then the most important thing, as I already told you, subject. Okay, just take this example. We are sending this email to Rohit or Rohini Chopra. Okay, and the subject is invitation for annual day event. Means we are sending one type of invitation with the use of email to that Rohit or Rohini. Okay, so which salutation we used here? Dear sir or madam, and after that definitely comma should be there. Therefore, I already told you punctuation mark is very important in this email writing. Okay, so we use that salutation. Then just read the first paragraph. Very important. We would like to tell you how much we admire your work on screen and how much we appreciate you as a person off screen. The use of comma, the use of punctuation marks is very important. Okay, the recognition and popularity you have received is very well deserved. You are a youth icon in the true sense. Means we are inviting someone who is the recognized person in the society, maybe some actor, some very important person in the society. Okay, so in the very first paragraph we pretended our intention behind sending the email. Okay, the second paragraph, what we call the core paragraph, we therefore invite you gracious presence, or invite your gracious presence as the chief guest for our annual function Megh 19. Okay, so what is the title of that annual function? Megh 19, and we are requesting to that Rohit Chopra for the acceptance as the chief guest of that annual function. Okay, which scheduled on Friday, comma, December 20th, again, comma, on our college grounds. I am deliberately telling you about the use of commas. You need to understand how we should use proper punctuation marks in the email writing. Okay, and the final paragraph, that is concluding paragraph, and it is, I am sure your presence will inspire our young students, okay, many of whom look forward. Yes, at the end, looking forward to your favorable reply. Means we expect that after getting this message, this email, that person will reply us. Okay, and definitely after that, showing our gratitude towards that person, thanking you, full stop, and then the details of the person who used to send the message. Okay, yours sincerely, Smita, the principal, again comma, the use of punctuation marks, Zenith College, Bandra West, Mumbai 50. Okay, so this is what we call the general way of writing an email in a proper way. Okay, we have so many other formats or the examples for this email writing. Okay, so just look on your screen, different types of frames. In the header we have achieve, spam, delete, and some other options. Okay, in the last example we exactly write the name of that person, Rohit or Rohini Chopra. Here we have exact that email address. Okay, then subject, again same content like the previous one. Okay, So we have learned today how to compose email. Okay, not just how to compose email, but at the same time how we can send it to the another person. In the present age, applications for jobs are expected to be sent through emails, and this thing is very important for you students. Nowadays you cannot apply by post with the use of letters. Nowadays, in the present age, we used to apply with the use of email. Okay, for such purposes, preparing a biodata, CV, and resume is very important. In the next lecture, we will have more discussion about biodata, CV, and resume. At the same time, what is the exact difference between biodata, CV, and resume? Because most of the time, student used all the three words in the same way. But we should know that there is a big difference between curriculum vitae, resume, and biodata. So it is enough for today's class. Thank you so much.